Hello, 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 hello. This is the C Note. I'm your host, Cortez Ransom, coming to you tonight with what will be episode 12, where my special guest will be Mr. Antonio B. Waiting for him to come in here right now. Hopefully, he will be joining me soon. And I hope everybody is having a great day out there. Yet I don't see anybody joining us just yet. I see my special guest right now. There he is. Um, yeah, send me a request. Come on, I see you. Yeah. Send me a request to join my screen, man. Okay. There we go. All right. I just sent you a request. All right. Yeah. There we go. Finally. How you
I'm
doing?
good.
Cool, 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 cool.
I'm good. This is all new to me, so appreciate your patience.
It's all
Can
good.
you hear me okay?
Huh?
Can you hear
What's
me
that?
okay?
Yeah,
Can
I
you
hear
hear
you
me all right?
fine. I hear you fine, yeah. I do. I hear you good. I hear you good. I hear you good. How was your day?
Busy and all over the place, to say the least. So, man, it's still going, right? I mean, not this,
Right.
but some other stuff I got to do later on tonight. But I'm just trucking away.
Right, right, right. Well, I did not know that you were at work at the time when you hit me up because you hit me up and asked me if I was available to run a test. And I'm like, I don't like running tests at the last minute anyway because I like to get stuff done earlier. That's just
Right,
the type of
right.
person I am.
Yeah, the same
Right.
here. So I was in the middle of working, trying to sign out, went downstairs, did some other stuff, and I
Yeah.
wanted to sit on my computer, right?
Uh-huh.
So I just wasn't back seated. But
Yeah.
now I'm back up here, and I'm
Yeah.
using my phone, so hoping
Okay.
everything will
Okay.
run smooth tonight.
Yeah. 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 It should. Well, there's this little spiel that I do where I kind of give some people the side eye, where I say, this is the C note where we keep it 100 and real recognize real. And we also see you fake asses out there too. You got to give people the side eye. You know about that. But anyway, what?
You bringing me in on your spiel and your side eye?
I sure am. I had my last guest join me in on the side eye. Had a couple of guests join me with the side eye. You know how to do that. You know how to
I,
give people the side eye, don't you?
I mean, if I need to, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have here Mr. Antonio B. He is a DMV native by way of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, where he attended the HBCU there by the same name as the town, Pine Bluff, right?
You of Arkansas Palm Bluff. Yep, Golden Lions.
Pine Bluff, go to Lions. Okay, okay, okay. Where he graduated with a BS degree in agricultural business. And right after graduating, he ended up working for the federal government until 2019, where he decided to become an entrepreneur and start in intentional interpreters. Right,
Yep,
right,
that's
right,
it.
right.
You got it. You got
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. Where they, you provide interpreters for business events, special events, even theater and all types of things. So you got a degree in agricultural business. And then you ended up at the federal government right after. So your interests were in dealing with farming and stuff like that, doing the business end of farming and dealing with livestock or the business end. And how did you go from getting a degree in that to jumping over to the federal government?
Yeah, so, well, yeah, absolutely wasn't interested in agricultural and business or anything like
You
that.
said you was not interested. So why'd you
Yeah,
do it?
no.
Did your parents or somebody have you do that?
Actually, my mother, that was more of her background. That's
Okay,
how she
okay.
grew up, from a large
Yeah.
family. I think
Hmm.
at least six brothers and six sisters, right? And
Yeah.
so they grew up with farming and had livestock and things like
Hmm.
that. So at any rate, there was an opportunity for a scholarship, right? And that
Right.
was USDA 1890 National Scholars Program.
Hmm.
And so that really afforded me the opportunity, as well as other students across the nation, really emphasizing and focusing on minority students. Um, Black students to get them involved with agricultural, mechanical, and normal skills. And so one of the stipulations of that scholarship was to major in something related to agriculture, mechanical, and even computer science, right?
Right.
So now the condition of that, I mean, it really, there were all pros. It was mainly beneficial.
Right.
So you had to major in that field of study at the same time during your
Hmm.
summers. They would provide you with an internship in the District of Columbia or KB, I see you, or any other
Hey.
area, right? And so their
Yeah.
opportunity was a paid internship to work with the federal government. And upon graduation, that's when you had to pretty much sign your life away and pay back the tuition that they gave you during school, right?
Right.
So, I mean, once you're pretty much in, you're in. So I work with them. It started in 2006, and really my internship time was spent mainly in the DC area. And once I graduated, I moved to the area permanently, and I've been working for agricultural since, right?
Yeah.
So, or Department of Agriculture. So, really from there, and I think as you kind of grow up, you get older, you learn what you like, what you don't like. You start thinking about your life, and you experience different things, and you meet people. And for me, being from a small town in Arkansas where you really only see black and white, right? There's not a lot of diversity. But when you move to an area, a metropolitan area like DC, that's when you learn about so many different things and cultures and people and
Hmm.
opportunities. And I don't know. I guess I could segue
So
into
you,
cyber with an interpreter, but
so, so no, 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 not yet, not with that
not
just
yet.
yet.
Too early.
Uh, so you left Arkansas and went to DC. Well, you were already in DC, right? And you went back to Arkansas to go to school
So,
because you say you were a native of DC, meaning that
no,
you
I'm a native of Palm Bluff, Arkansas. So I'm
okay,
from born
okay,
and raised Palm
no,
Bluff, Arkansas.
okay, because I misunderstood you because the bio that you sent me said you were a DMV native and by way of Arkansas. So I was
So got
thinking
here by
something else.
way of
Yeah.
Arkansas. I mean, technically, you said it. I mean, essentially, the concept is right, right? I'm
Right.
here. I'm living here right now. I've been here for over a decade, but I
So,
got here from or came here from Arkansas. So,
okay, 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 okay. So, all right,
indeed, that's
yeah.
right.
So you were working for the federal government in Arkansas, or not until you came to DC?
Yeah, I can elaborate on that. So from 2006 to 2010, I worked in DC.
Hmm.
So during the summertime, I worked in DC for agriculture, and I would come back and I would go to school for the subsequent year, right? Whether that was
Right.
sophomore, junior. So in between, during those summer periods, I spent my time in DC. Now, there was a time, I want to say it was around Christmas time. Yeah, around the holiday time, I worked for the Department of Agriculture in Pine Bluff, Arkansas.
Okay.
hmm
So with the federal government, how did you get involved in that from the
Right.
agricultural thing? I mean, um, was that an interest of yours, or you just happened that jobs were available, or what? You just
I
needed a job?
mean, so trying to, I mean, I guess I have time, so I could go on for a minute about this, but I want to say in 11th grade, and I'm pretty sure Sister Green Thumb knows who I'm talking about, but we had a chemistry teacher, right? And I want to say
Mhm.
really she was our science teacher, maybe plant science or something like that. But
Yeah.
anyway, her name is Judy McLeod, or maybe Judith McLeod. But anyway, she in 11th grade when I had her as a chemistry teacher,
Right.
that's when she made a comment that I'll never forget, and it was follow the green. Right, follow
Okay.
the green. And, being back then, I'm like, ooh, green, yeah, money, money, money.
Right.
And then, my mother, she also, right, Judy, she also mentioned something about, you have different opportunities, you have some scholarships, but this one right here is where, you're already set up, you know, and you don't have to worry about loans because it was a full ride. The
Okay.
relationship or the agreement that the Department of Agriculture has with the different HBCUs, the 1890 land grant institutions, at that time afforded them the opportunity to go to school for free. So by the time my cohort came into the picture, tuition was paid for by agriculture. The university provided room and board. We had stipends for books, supplies, things like that. Any materials that we needed for, you know, the semesters, and paid internships. And once we graduate, we were already set to go to the Department of Agriculture to in part pay back that service, right? So
Mm-hmm.
essentially, I had a job out of high school, and I just needed to graduate in order to work permanently for agriculture. Yep. I hope that's clear.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I totally get it. I totally get it.
But
So,
it wasn't like I was like, "Ooh, I want to do agriculture and business." I just was following the green, right?
follow the green. Yeah, that's what a lot of people are doing nowadays. Securing that bag for by any means necessary. But we got to get deeper than just securing the bag by any means necessary. We got to have a purpose and be intentional about things. But I'm not going to preach right now.
Not yet.
Yeah, I'm not going to preach on Blackity Black Ministries right now. But I'll, you know what I'm saying. Anyway,
That's coming.
so I'll try not to go there tonight. But uh, with being an interpreter, how did you develop that interest, and what made you want to start a business focusing on that?
Yeah. So
Did
over
you have
time,
somebody? Did you have someone in your family or a close friend that was deaf, or something that made you want to, that inspired you to want to start that type of business?
right. So my best friend now is deaf, right? And so, but at the time, I only knew ABC, one, two, three, you know, just the alphabet primarily. And so yeah, so I was just kind of like, wow, when I saw like how he communicated and concepts, sentences, things like that. I just wanted to learn more and to be in a better communication, right? So I just kind of fell in love with the language, and really all it took was Bus Boys and Poets Poetry Night. So in the area, they host that monthly, and it's either the first or the last Friday of the month. And that's where anybody who knows sign language, whether that's a little bit or a lot,
Hmm.
is an interpreter, not an interpreter,
Okay.
can get on stage and they can perform, they can do poetry, they can do a song, all of this in sign language, right? They can do a skit, a choreographed dance, incorporating sign language gestures and so on and so forth. And I was just really amazed that I was just pretty much I was amazed, right? And so this was while I was at agriculture, but I was like, wow, I have to become an interpreter. And so that was kind of like the segue into interpreting for me, going to Busboys and Poets, you know, meeting people and you know, picking up the language in that way, and also just kind of meeting different people at Gallaudet University because I would go there from time to time with my buddy, and I said, you know, in order to become one, I need to enroll in a program so I can get some training, so on and so forth. So I did that for about a semester or a year, and the
Hmm.
program, for some reason, it just didn't really sit well with me. So
Okay.
I left.
Why not? Why didn't it sit well with you?
I guess there were little nuances or things that happened during the semester, during that year, where I said, I don't know how I feel about this program. Maybe it was the faculty, maybe it was other
Oh,
students.
okay, okay, okay. See,
You lit up. What?
so what was it with the faculty that made you a little weary of them? I'm just doing my job as an interviewer. I'm young.
I'm thinking back to that time, right? Because that was in 2000. That was 2012, so
Hmm.
almost a decade ago. Entered the program, studied, so on and so forth. I don't know if there was like favoritism there or it was just almost as if I don't know, no matter I don't want to say no matter what you did, you couldn't get better or what. I don't know. I just know something wasn't right. I didn't like it, and I said, I'm leaving
See,
this program.
I think you don't want to keep it real with me because you think I might go there. I ain't gonna go there with that other stuff and that. But you,
No, 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 no. I'm really trying to figure out what was it where I was. I mean, it wasn't like, oh, this program is so horrible, but
okay.
I think I just didn't appreciate the grade I got, and I think it was a B, and I wanted an A.
You used to those A's, right? You're a straight A student normally, or you're an honorable student.
I'm passable. No, I'm playing.
Ah,
I really worked hard that semester, and I guess I just
okay.
wasn't satisfied, and I don't think I had an opportunity to sit down with the teacher and so on and so forth, right? So,
Hey,
I,
Sister Content
um,
and Afro Can. How are you? All right,
you
go
know,
ahead and
what's
talk.
going on, people? Content. Just to let you in, me and Content, we, starting a business to cook together, right? So we're about to have
Oh,
this
really?
cooking
Okay.
page kick off.
Cool.
Mainly, Content's making the food, and I'm just tasting it, right? So yeah,
Right.
that's coming out
Well, y'all gonna have to cook at our after our first service at
at Blackity Black.
Black Ministries. Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
What you
I'm
say?
honestly just kidding. But I've been checking out all the posts, and they've been making me hungry. So
Oh yeah, I told her that food looked really good the other day that she posted. It did look seriously. I
yeah.
want some of that food. I want some of that food badly. Yeah.
For real. And I'm like, dang, okay, let me look at my calendar to see maybe when I could
And you were throwing down, Sister Content, and she's in Virginia, right outside of DC, actually.
yeah,
Yeah.
not too far. I
Yeah.
peeped
Yeah,
that.
I'm sure you did. I'm sure you did.
Absolutely.
Well,
Not
I'm
some
all the way in
food.
Baltimore, but I'm not opposed to jumping on the train to get there. I did that when I was in a well, look, I had to catch a train over there to go meet her at Union Station so we could go back to her house when I was in a documentary of hers because she asked me to write a spoken word piece for her documentary and I had to go over there to shoot it. So
Mhm.
it is what it is. I'm willing to travel for stuff like that. Yeah.
That's good because you Baltimoreans, y'all don't travel for nothing. Y'all don't
Oh,
go
oh no, see,
anywhere. Y'all stay right there. Y'all
hold
don't
up,
leave.
hold up.
Hey,
Don't
I'm
you,
just saying,
hey,
y'all are
hey,
like,
hey,
this
hey,
is
hey,
us.
hey,
We're going to
hey,
DC.
hey, 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 hey,
Hey,
hey,
you get
hey,
to
hey,
start
hey, hey,
now.
hey, hey, hey. Don't you come from a town. Don't you come from my town.
Y'all
I could talk shit about it because I'm from here. But don't you talk about Baltimore,
is
okay?
on in the world. Look, I
I gotta
keep up
represent.
before the school.
I gotta rep the city. Gotta rep the city. Okay. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do
Yeah,
Baltimore like
well,
that. I'm not opposed to traveling. Okay. And
you not out of all
maybe
of y'all.
maybe that's because I have southern roots or something. I don't know. But anyway, but a lot of us do here.
Given
You
that,
know.
yeah, so we'll travel, we'll go pre-pandemic. Because like growing up with me, I mean, there was like what trees, farmland, not a lot of
Hmm.
major buildings or job opportunities. Really, I think the main would be Tyson, and so that
Okay.
kind of industry, and maybe Walmart when it finally came along. Yeah, because Walmart, it's headquartered in Benton, Arkansas. What's his name? Sam Walton. But at any rate, yeah. So
I don't.
here,
Sam
well,
Walton.
obviously, I only know because of me being from there. But
Right.
coming here, it's like wow, and this is really thriving, it's popping, all of that.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely willing. At least now I've been exposed to different things, willing to travel to different places.
So with intentional interpreters, you handle special events and stuff like that, and you also do interpretation at a theater. So you like have people or you yourself are there with the script and stuff like that.
So
And is that,
maybe not that deep. I mean, essentially, yeah, but with my LLC intentional interpreting, basically, anyone who needs an interpreter or needs interpreting services, they would contact me. And we would go about that process, right, to feel the need for that job, whether that's in or assignment, whether that's in a medical setting, whether that's in nonprofit, business, theater, really wherever interpreters and accessibility are needed, right? Because
right.
especially in this area, but now with everything being virtual, there's a
Hmm.
need for accessibility and and that also includes deafblind people, right, and hard of hearing, and people who have multiple disabilities. So, but for me, primarily, it's American Sign Language English interpreting, and I work with other people too, other agencies, other companies, other interpreters.
Are there are there a lot of African descended people in this field?
In comparison to the majority being white, and this really being a female dominated, white female
Okay.
dominated field.
Mm.
There, we're out here. We are available nationally. Just maybe not as many, compared to.
Try to weigh people down. I'm over here. I'm over here. Is that what y'all do?
Really, we don't have to do that for the month of February because
Well,
they
see,
found us.
yeah, it's over now. But see, we black all year long, not just in February. I didn't say
365.
I didn't change after February 28th. I'm still black, right? Nor do I want to. I'm happy being black. Thank you very much.
Right. Like you said, year round, right? Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
so there are a lot of us out there, and I think
mhm.
that that's absolutely important and necessary to this day, this time, to show solidarity, to show that, hey, you have this demographic of interpreters who would probably fit your needs better than, a white person. Cultural competency is something that
Yeah,
really goes
because
into skill, right? And need.
right there are probably a number of deaf black people out there who would be more comfortable, possibly be more comfortable with a black interpreter.
Absolutely, and you may have seen some articles circulating or videos about preserving Black ASL or Black American Sign Language or BASL. And it talks about the differences in what's considered the standard American Sign Language versus Black American Sign Language, right? And how it was developed and
So what's the
pretty
difference?
much just like how we as Black people like talk or
Oh,
communicate.
so you talking about sign languaging out uh like like some of the slang terms that we come up with and stuff like that.
Absolutely, like dope,
That that
tripping.
that they eventually never mind that they eventually steal or take
I,
over. They end up copying whatever
I
we
knew that
say.
was
So
coming.
I'm sorry. I try to behave myself, but I just it
But
slipped out.
essentially, that's true, though, right?
It is
Because those
true.
are the things that we develop, and now they see that, oh, that's how you sign dope, or oh, that's how you sign tripping. And so then they include it in their interpretations. But yeah, a lot of signs, a lot of things were developed
Mhm.
from Black people,
Oh
Black deaf
yeah.
people,
Hmm.
that really have been passed down and are really culturally centered. So yeah, absolutely. Black ASL is real, and I did a group research presentation on that some years back.
Hmm.
And so I was mentioning I left, then I went to Gallaudet for a little bit.
Okay.
It really was more for picking up the language, and
Right.
I just felt like I could make it that way.
Hmm.
Probably, but it would have took me longer, I would say, to get here. But I had a conversation with someone who I would say is a mentor and colleague now, that it's important that I finish that program that I started, at least so I can have something to document and show that I've been through an accredited interpreter training program. His name is Kevin Dial, so I just want to throw that out there. So I
Okay.
appreciate
Kevin
him.
Dodd. Okay.
Really, that stuck with me, and it made me realize, okay, yeah, I can finish the program and I can do it. I did it in about 2 years, right? And I was motivated and
Wow.
I have my own goals. So yeah,
So
but
what's the normal length of time that it takes someone to graduate from?
yeah, and so ITPs or interpreter education programs, IEPs, it kind of depends. It could take someone from 2 years to 4 years or 6 years, maybe 10 years.
But you did
But
it in two.
maybe two in a semester or something. But
Okay. Wow. Oh, all right.
you
Impressive.
know, the program that I went to at the time, that program was set up for more so working adults. So a lot of classes were in the evening, and
Okay.
they were also structured classes. So
Yeah.
that means you had to take one before you could take the next one. And if you weren't able to, you would have to wait a year before you
Hmm.
could, move on and
Yeah.
matriculate. So, I did what I had to do to kind of set myself up to, get in there and get out in no time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I kind of sped along, but it takes some people maybe a decade. But
Right.
even still, I believe that, your time is your time, your season is your season. And when it happens is when it happens. I wanted to rush through back in 2012, but, I didn't finish until really a few years ago. I've been involved with signing and doing different things here and there. But through that program, that I kind of breezed through, I really learned different things and aspects of deaf culture and interpreting that I probably wouldn't have got if I was just out there doing it on my own. So, I mean, still shout out to my ITP, CCBC, Community College of Baltimore County in Catonsville, probably
Hmm.
familiar with the area.
Yeah.
But yeah, got in, got out, and 2018, 19, not too long ago, I went ahead and started my LLC,
Oh,
right?
hold up. But you going to talk stuff about Baltimore, but you went to one of the schools in this area. Uh-huh.
County,
Uh-huh. I don't care. It's still
county,
part of it's still part of Baltimore. Still part of Baltimore.
county.
Baltimore. And notice how I say Baltimore. We all don't talk like that. I didn't say Baltimore. I said Baltimore.
You
Thank you. I
said
know how
with
to
the T,
pronounce
not the D.
it. Right. I pronounce it correctly. I can say Baltimore if I want to, but that's not how I talk. I naturally say
Yeah,
Baltimore.
I,
Right.
I had to learn that too.
The content is laughing.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah, yeah, right, Sister Content. How you gonna talk trash about where I'm at? He gonna come up here and go to a school. Yeah, uh-huh. You can't differentiate between Baltimore City and county. They all the same. Anyway.
well, hey, granted, now that you mentioned that, it's the only interpreter. Well, at the time, it was the only accredited interpreter, really the only interpreter training program in the state of Maryland, right? So it was really a lot of respect, to and
Oh,
behind
the only
CCTV.
one. The only one, huh? And
The
it's
only one.
here, 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 where I reside. Yeah, see?
I'll let you have that. You can have that
Yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah, let me have. Not, I took that. I took that.
You can have that
That's
one.
how we do. Yeah, I ain't asked permission. I took it. I'm just saying. But
That's
anyway,
fine. That's completely
but
fine.
I think more people should, especially more about people, maybe should get into sign language interpreting. It can come in handy. You never know when you might need that skill. Also, in addition, you know, um, I saw that you said you're a musician as well,
Hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
what instruments do you play or
Well, I'm retired now. I'm
huh?
mostly just kidding, but beginning in sixth grade up until after right when I graduated, I played the saxophone,
Hmm.
alto saxophone, and outside of that, I played the piano. So saxophone was in school. Outside of school, it was the piano. So for 6 years, but once I went to college, all of that just
Yeah.
kind of stopped. But I still have
Hmm.
my keyboard, and I can still, I can move a little bit on the keys. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if
Yeah.
I had my saxophone, I could still do a little magic too,
See, why don't you have that keyboard right next to you right now? Because the audience wants to hear you play something.
You should
Don't
have
y'all,
told
folks?
me that. I'm in a different room and I got to
Uh,
move and logistics and all of that. Next
see,
time.
yeah, I'm gonna call you back just to have you play something on here, right?
I can do a little something, something. Yeah, I
uh,
like that. I can do
uh-huh,
that.
uh-huh. So you played the saxophone and the keyboard, and you said what else?
Really those two, but I've always had a goal and interest in learning the strings or the guitar, right?
Hmm.
Violin maybe, but really I want to learn how to play acoustic guitar, and haven't had the time really yet. Well, I guess I should say I haven't made the time in all these
I
years.
like the sound that comes from the acoustic guitar. I love that. I love the.
Beautiful.
I love it's a beautiful sound, definitely.
Yeah, and
Right.
then you can play the guitar by itself. It doesn't need like an
Hmm.
accompaniment, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
That's what I like about it. And piano too.
Yeah. So as far as acting, you said you did a role in something a while ago. What was that? project again?
Yeah, so a while ago, that was a movie, and I want to say in 2008 is when I
Hmm.
was like, oh, let me try something different while I'm still in school, right? And
Hmm.
so I went to this model and talent agency, and really I went there initially for modeling.
Okay.
But
Okay.
when you hear stuff from your folks, your aunts, things like that, oh, you're so handsome,
Hmm.
that whole type of thing. Like, oh, okay,
Right.
stick with me. I'm like, oh yeah, but. I wonder where I could go with that. So anyway, I went to this model and
Right.
talent agency, and so I went for modeling, right?
Hmm.
And I'm like 5'9", and so when I got there, for the interview, after like all of that, like it was like,
So that's discrimination, height
hi,
discrimination. Okay.
yeah.
All right. I'm gonna let you finish that and tell the story about the film, and then I'm gonna say something in reference to that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, she was like, maybe a little too short, not
I
in
don't
those
think.
words, but she said, but we also have acting classes here if that's something you might be interested in. I said, okay, yeah, sure. So anyway, go through the program, progress, and eventually now there's an opportunity before me, right, for
Hmm.
a couple auditions. They were like really minor, but one was a movie. I can't remember the name of the movie, but that was the experience with I had with at least a script and
Hmm.
shooting different scenes and being a character. I want to add too. I feel like I don't really feel like this, but honestly, every day it's an act right with interpreter. And you put it on
But
somebody.
it's not just with that. Believe me, it's not just with interpreting. It's everyday life dealing with some of these people, especially being black in this country, living under this system. We often have
Absolutely.
to do that.
Every day with the code switching and all of that.
I don't do that though. I don't do that code switching too much. I don't. I mean, I could if I wanted to, but I choose not to.
That's great. You're in a position to not to have to do that or to choose to not be able to do that.
Look, I'm not rude to anybody, but I'm not going to be putting on no act either. I'm just saying, I'm not rude or nasty to anyone. That's just not my nature to just go around being that way. But
Right.
um,
Hmm.
you know, I am on code though. I'm on the black code. That's
I was
just
like, wait, what? You on code?
hey, it's just what it is. It is what it is. But so what was the name of that project? You don't remember? You don't know where it is now? If it could be
I have
found
no
somewhere?
idea.
Whatever happened with it? Wow.
It's probably
Okay.
on VHS somewhere. I really don't know. I know I didn't get a
See,
copy of it.
you make it to a certain level, it's going to pop out there. Somebody's going to put it out there. Like,
Hey, well, I'll be
right.
like, oh yeah, that was me back, 20 years ago or so.
Yeah, yeah.
That
So
was my son.
you brought up the height thing, which is interesting to me because when I was holding auditions for my next film project, We Brothers, there was one guy who was for the audition for me, and he had said that he went to this John Casablanca School of modeling and acting as well, and he really wanted to get into modeling, but he said he felt bad because um, oh, this is not, he felt bad because he wasn't being given any opportunities because he's like 5'6". Um,
Mm,
Now
mm,
the way that he takes his pictures, he has a lot of pictures on Facebook. The way he photographs or has himself photographed, he seems taller in his pictures. He doesn't look like
oh,
5'5" in his pictures. But he said he felt bad because he's been trying to break into the modeling industry and they discriminate against him because he's 5'6". And basically,
mm,
what I told him was that you can't let that stop you. I mean, start your own modeling truth.
absolutely.
Don't let other people's opinions or whatever about, first of all, short people, short adults, so-called short adults, wear clothes too. Okay,
Mhm.
so
Right.
they need
It's
to
true.
take that into consideration. So basically, what I told him was that he shouldn't let that stop him. If he really wants to model, start his own modeling troupe. Don't let
Mhm.
somebody stop him from doing that because he's 5'6". Um,
Right.
and I also told him about, because he wanted to audition for me, but he sent me this monologue, and the way he did the monologue was very monotone.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there was no emotion. He basically just was saying words, and he said them real fast. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so there was no emotion to it. And a lot of people that's in this industry would have been like, some of them might not even hit him back. And others would have may have said something back, rude to him, but I'm not the type of person. I was trying to help him. So I said, well, the monologue you just sent me, um, I'm asking you, could you do it again? Because you said it, you said the words really fast. You didn't put any emotion in it. So I said, if you need help, I'll help you, because I like to
Mm-hmm.
help. I like to help our people. So I was trying to help him, and I felt sorry for him because he said he was having problems getting into the modeling industry because of his height. So I was trying to help him, and I said, could you do it again? Um, and he said that he would. He was going to get back to me, you know, within in a few days. He was going to work on it, but then he never did. So I reached back out to him, which again, a lot of people would not have done. They wouldn't have reached back out to him,
Right.
but I was trying to help him. I felt sorry for him. I said, so I haven't heard back from you. Are you still interested in trying? I said, if you're not comfortable or nervous or whatever, I'm willing to help you. He never hit me back. So that's on him. I don't know why he didn't hit me back, you know. But see, with you, and maybe this is not a shameless plug, or maybe it is. Well, I already mentioned We Brothers. Okay. Uh, for those of you who don't know, Mr. Antonio B is in the cast of We Brothers, playing the role of Mr. Kenneth Cooks. Yes.
Yeah, I
Uh,
haven't said anything. I think, because, this being your project and great work
mm,
you put into it, I think it's
well,
on
look,
me now.
your picture is all on that flyer that posted thing, and you're also in that video. Your picture's in that video, so people know already if you've been paying attention,
A lot
right?
of people know, I mean, I'm doing something, but they probably like, what is he doing? He here, there, he everywhere. He
Yeah. But what I want to say about you is that I was impressed with you because I sent you a monologue, which I was very familiar with, from a James Baldwin play. For those who should know who James Baldwin was, because he's a legendary black playwright and author. And I was in a play written by him. Um, well, of course, he was dead then too. But when I was in the play, he was, because he'd been dead for a long time. But one of his plays called the Amen Corner. I was in that play a long time ago, and I've always liked that monologue. Uh, so I sent that to people who didn't have a monologue, and suggested that they try it. Now, you did the monologue for me once, actually on live, or in my inbox. You asked me, could you do it live,
Yes.
as opposed
Hmm.
to sending me a
Right.
video, and I
Right.
didn't trip about that. I'm like, sure, because some people are very stuck up and a stickler for a lot of stuff, and they would have been like, no, you got to email it. So I'm like, no, you could do it on live or whatever. So you did it on live, and I mean, you did it. It was okay.
Hmm.
It wasn't horrible, but
Hmm.
I wanted to see some levels in it. And when I
Hmm.
described to you what the levels were, you came back when I gave you the direction, and you delivered what I asked for on the spot.
Hmm.
So that let me see that you had the talent, because you took that direction and you took it quickly, which I'm very impressed with that, and the fact that you came through and you did it. So I'm glad to have you a part of the cast,
And
because
right there
everybody,
immediately, right?
what you
It
said.
was all, I said it was right there immediately, right? All within about maybe, me going through it and then providing feedback and then me doing it again in what, like
Mhm.
5 minutes, if that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah.
appreciate you. I appreciate that.
Right, right. And I appreciate you, taking the direction, because even me, I still had to take direction from people, because I'm on both sides of the table, as myself being an actor and also being a writer and a director and so forth. So I'm on both sides of the table, where I'm running my own projects and I'm also in other people's projects. And like I said the other night, attitude and energy is very important to me. I don't want to work with anybody with bad energy.
Right.
Going to be bringing down the project, and I like your energy. You know, just like I was on somebody else's set who I was recommended to him. He didn't really know me, and he's dealt with other actors in the past who sometimes say that they're going to do something and say they're going to show up, and they don't show up. So he was trying to find out about me, and the brother who recommended me was like, no, he's a professional. He's going to be here if he says he's going to be here. And I told the brother, look, I do what I say I'm going to do. And I say, me being a writer and a director myself, I take other people's projects. When I'm acting on someone's project, I take their project just as seriously as I want people to take mine. Uh,
Right.
I show up on time and I'm ready to work. I don't go on somebody else's set and try to tell another director how to direct their film or whatever. I'm there to work as an actor and do what I'm supposed to do. And that's the same attitude I want when somebody's on my project. So that attitude is very important. Definitely very
Oh yeah,
important.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that I don't know if she's still here. Hey Boo, hey Tiffany. But I would say like too, other people in the interpreting field to compare or make a parallel, feel the same way, right? If someone is asking if you're available for a job and to fill a
Hmm.
job, essentially you're representing that company. So
Yeah.
what you do may impact that relationship between businesses, right?
Hmm.
So, like you say, attitude is absolutely important.
Right. Most definitely. So, have you thought about how far you want to take this acting thing, or you just in it for the ride just to see where it takes you?
I like roller coasters, so
Oh God, I can't
I
stand
could
roller
be on a
coasters.
never-ending roller coaster. I would. I'm
Not
ready.
never ending. No, we already living in a never ending roller coaster.
Hey, it's a journey
I
every
don't like
day.
it.
I don't know
No,
what the destination is.
I want to get off that ride. No, no, no. See, I just wrote a song with somebody. I did a collaboration. I'm not going to talk too much about stuff because I don't want to put that out there yet. But I did do a song with someone, a collaboration. It's a song, that I can't. Well, he sent me the music track, and I came up with this song. And we actually recorded it, and it's being mixed and all that now. But one of
Okay.
this, huh?
Oh, I said okay, okay.
Yeah, it's a song called "Merry Go Round and Round," and basically, I had posted that phrase before that we're on this never-ending merry-go-round as black people in this country dealing with racism. We're on this never-ending fight going round and round and round because here we are all these decades later. What is it? Close to 60 years after this quote-unquote civil rights movement, and
Mhm.
we're still fighting for our born rights. So
Mhm.
basically, the song is about being tired of being on that merry-go-round, going round and round and round, and we never seem to get very far. We're still here fighting for the same rights, and it's very tiring. So basically, the song is being about when is this going to be over? When are we going to get off? Because I'm ready to get off this ride. I'm ready to get off this damn merry-go-round. That's what the song is about. But it has a good it's an upbeat to it. It's not a slow song. It's an upbeat song. Uh, yeah, it's just it's just exhausting. That's all. But I understand you like roller coasters, not in real life, but not.
No, real life.
I mean, what I mean is you don't like it that analogy in your real life. Like you don't want your life, your emotions to be up and down, or people acting crazy with you in your personal life. You just like the actual roller coaster. Oh, so you
Too
so you
late,
don't
but
so you don't mind all that unnecessary drama in your personal life? Because I can't stand all
but
that unnecessary drama personally.
I would say, I mean, really more so, I guess what I mean is the concept of, we don't know technically what's going to happen tomorrow or a week from now
Right.
or a month from now, right? And at this point in my life, I think, I've experienced different things and situations, and all of them kind of build me, and they have made me who I am today. And I think that
Yeah.
really continues. Really, we just stretch ourselves, and we what's what I'm looking for? We adjust, right? But as far as the roller coaster and all of that, every day is almost like a roller coaster for me,
But
right?
you know what? You know what? I've been through a lot of stuff in my life, starting from my childhood. Start from my childhood, I've been through some shit. And in my
Mhm.
adulthood too, I've been through some stuff. And it comes a point where you just get tired of it. Like I used to have the patience to go back and forth with people. People want to jump on my post and argue back and forth. I used to have patience for that. I don't have patience to be going back and forth with anybody anymore on stuff. And people jump on my post and want to argue about because a lot of these people they don't even speak. They don't say anything. They don't like anything you post. You know, don't ever say anything positive. They only show up when they want to disagree and argue about something. And I used to be able to deal with that, but I don't have patience to be going back and forth with people anymore that only speak to me when they want to argue. I'm not doing that. And then some of them will jump on your post and be disrespectful about it. Like they'll start calling you out your name if they don't like something you posted. They'll call you out your name, and right there the conversation is over with because once you call me out my name, I don't have anything else to say to you. I'm not going to go back and forth with somebody who just disrespected me and called me out my name. I'm not going to sit there. I'm not going to sit there and go back and forth with you and call you names because I'm an adult. I'm not going to do that like a 5-year-old and sit there and call names back and forth. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. For me, I think too, 2020, 2019, into 2019, beginning of 2020 was, I don't want to say a wake up, but it was kind of like, whoa, what's going on, with everything in the world and personally, and how am I navigating everything? And,
Mm-hmm.
in that way, I just kind of, I just went with it, right? And you just kind
Right.
of figure out and deal. But then, like you mentioned, you grow and you learn, and you like, I don't want to deal with that. I'm not dealing with
Mm-hmm.
that. Too old for that. Been there,
Right.
and that. I don't have the patience.
Mm-hmm.
You just kind of learn how to deal with it in the way that works for you, because I believe that still that's going to show up and present itself, for the rest of our lives, right?
Because it's like nowadays somebody could say the sky is polka dot. It's polka dot color. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I ain't even arguing with you. You right. Have a nice day. Bye. And it's like I'm not arguing with
But that's true
you. Right.
though. Like I probably would say the same thing. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, cool, cool. And keep it moving. Because I guess what I realized, you can't let somebody else's thing or energy kind of come
Yeah.
into you and impact you and just throw you off. Because
Mhm.
at the end of the day, you got to sit with yourself, right?
Yeah, because people will try to take you there and tear you down, and they don't like to see if you too happy or you seem like you're happy. They want to, interfere with that or whatever.
And I
So,
learned misery loves company.
mhm.
That saying is really true.
Oh yeah, I definitely know that. Definitely know that. So with the acting, well, in this film, We Brothers, which will develop into a series, there's some serious moments, but there's a little bit of which I think you can deliver. It's a little bit of like in one of the scenes that you're in. It's like a little comedic thing in there. So I'm sure you can pull it off too. You can be funny and humorous. But there's some serious moments in there as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you do with that. But have you thought about what type of acting beyond this that you want to do as far as do you want to do comedy or uh
Yeah, I'm
what
glad
type
you
of
brought
films
that up.
what type of films you interested in? Science fiction, drama, what? Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up too, because honestly, really, if anything, when I was a child, looking back, I always wanted to be maybe an actor, but probably even more so a stunt double. I wanted
Okay.
to do karate and martial arts, and I wanted to be
Hmm.
in films, riding a motorcycle and,
Right.
explosions and like doing all of those type of
Hmm.
things. Just didn't really make it that way, or I didn't go that route in life, right?
Right.
So, as far as that, that was really like how I saw myself in my adult life, being a
Hmm.
stunt double for a racing scene or for an action scene. And if I could do this now and build from there and get to that point, it would give me the rush that I need.
Okay. Okay.
But
Okay.
essentially, yeah, I like horror movies. I like to watch horror movies. I don't know if I would want to act in one because I would have to. You know, I would have to follow the direction or from that director's
Well,
point of view, how they write the character.
you wouldn't be in there long.
I,
You wouldn't be
you
in there
know,
long. 'Cause
wouldn't be in that long.
you probably wouldn't be in there long because they kill off the black man quickly unless it's an all black horror film or something. You might have a chance.
And so, right, you know, you would be reading the script kind of like, I wouldn't do this in real life, so it would be hard for me to
Mhm.
fake that. But with, you know, action, I mean, action, you know, what it needs, the choreographed fighting, like, you know, The Matrix. That I wish I
Okay.
could have been in The Matrix, right? Some type of movie like that. Um, yeah, so I
Speaking
think,
of stuff like that, so how do you feel about like they're supposed to some people are upset about it. They're supposed to be having like a new Superman. They say it's supposed to be like two Supermans. Well, there's a black Superman, and some folks are upset about that, right? Just like they were talking about having a black James Bond, and some some Caucasian folks got upset by it. With whatever you say, there's going to be a black version of a character that's normally portrayed by somebody Caucasian. A lot of Caucasians get upset, right? But
hmm hmm
for me, I mean, it is what it is. But I feel like we have the creativity to create new stuff. Like dealing with James Bond, we can create a new spy story. We don't
hmm
have to have a black James Bond. I mean, if they decide to do that, that's just what it is. But some people are bothered by that. How do you feel about that whole thing about making always turning something into a black version of something that was done by somebody white as opposed to just creating something new?
Yeah, so absolutely, I believe that, you know, creating something new is better anyway, only
Mhm.
because if you try to continue a storyline and you bring in a new actor, I mean, one, for me, it's already kind of like, where's the connection? Where are they going? How is the connection? Versus, I would say, starting from scratch to where you have this new character, you have this new story, you have this new person, and it's not like they're trying to, you're not seeing them in the old person's role or what they did, right? So I
Right.
think with a new actor, and you know, you mentioned, I believe, was it Idris Elba at the time who was supposed to be cast as the new James Bond,
Yeah,
or
they were considering Idris Elba as the new James Bond, and
you
some
know, I
folks
would
were
have
upset.
appreciated. Yeah, and that's true. And I think also too with Ariel in the Little Mermaid, there was
Yeah,
supposed to be
yeah.
a new
Hmm.
black female lead. You know, I remember seeing the uproar and the why and how and not right. Like,
Because folks got upset when that beautiful little black girl um, was little orphan Annie in the film with Jamie Foxx,
right.
and
So Halle Bailey. Okay. Yeah, so, you know, people got upset about
Mhm.
those things. And for me, I'm like, well, we could always create our
It's
own,
still
right?
happening. Okay, they're still doing it.
Yeah. And
They're
so
still doing it. I mean, I don't
he
look.
would know better than me.
I'm going to be I'm going to be honest. If they,
I
if
know
they,
you're
if they
gonna be
got
black, 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 black.
yeah, yeah, yeah. If they got a black Ariel, I want her to have a black prince. That's all I'm saying. Leave it right there. All right. That's all I'm going to say.
I mean, I think that that also too would be why would that be such a stretch or like why can't it be? You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I think that naturally, historically, what we've seen, at least in Hollywood and around, is pretty much, you know, white and white or white man, black woman. I think we absolutely can have a, you know, black and black.
Yeah, she should have a black prince, but I'm sure you noticed what's been going on lately in commercials and
Oh,
commercials.
yeah,
They're
absolutely.
like
hmm
they're like pushing that certain thing a lot.
hmm
There is an agenda. There is an agenda against black love. But I'm
hmm
not going to go too deep into that.
But you know, now is a time, really, right? Because of
Mhm,
everything that's going on and how you know, we hear representation matters.
mhm.
And, you know, people are I don't know if people are waking up, but I do know that people are seeing. You know, I
Right.
think they can see it, but you
Mhm.
know, in the back of their mind, maybe they're not awake yet.
Right.
But I will say that now we can capitalize off of things. Unfortunately, these negative experiences, but we
Hmm.
see Black people out there,
Yeah.
or BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, people of color, we're out here, and I think
Hmm.
now it's time to kind of capitalize off of these events, right? And
Hmm.
try to at least change the status quo or be get in positions to where we can change the status quo.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely have to be in those positions and build our own thing. I'm not going to get on the brother Tyler Perry. Uh, mm, I mean, he's been blessed with a lot of money and things, and he's in a position to do some different things. He chooses not to. He does all these other types of stories. Like recently, I saw where he's producing a new series focusing on life in a strip club. Uh,
Hmm.
life
I
in a
don't think
strip
I
club.
heard about that.
I forgot the name of it, but it just came up like in the past couple of weeks that he's doing a new series set where I think a black woman owns a strip club, uh, and I think it's a strip club. She owns a strip club where men are the strippers. I don't know if she has female strippers too, but anyway,
Oh,
that's the type of stuff that he's doing.
he comes
Whereas
up with some interesting storylines and things.
in things, in things, yeah. Somebody asked me if I got a call from him wanting to cast me in something, would I take it? And I guess they expected that I would be like, I would just jump on it because he's Tyler Perry and he's well known. I'm like, no, I have to see the script first.
Right,
Honestly, I have to see the script first to see what he's getting me into. I'm not
right.
just going to say yes out the gate because I see some of the stuff that he does, and some of the stuff he does is okay, but some of that stuff that he does doesn't set well with me. And um, although I feel like I've been blessed with the range to play a wide variety of characters, I'm not going to do just any and everything just to be seen.
Right.
Because to me, it's important how we are portrayed.
Ruthless.
Oh God, that did you hear about that scene or did you watch that?
I've heard about it. I've seen some of it. I haven't seen all of it. So
You saw that clip that I'm
even
talking
still, I
about?
feel like there's more drama, right? Or more. I don't. I mean, I'll watch some things, but
Well, there was a scene in there where, because it's supposed to be about some
yeah, about a
cult
cult
thing,
with
and
one leader.
some woman's daughter has been kidnapped there through sex trafficking or something, and
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
she got herself taken in there to try to get her daughter out, and so now
Right.
she's in there, and so he has this scene where you see it's two black women and a black man in this scene, and the black man is sitting in the chair, and you have the black woman who I guess is supposed to be the mother of the daughter. Um, she's like, I'm trying to remember if she's tied up or not. Her hands might be tied, and the other black woman has a whip in her hand, you know, like the same kind of whip that they used on slaves when our people were enslaved. And so they show this black woman hitting the other black woman with a whip.
Oh, I don't think I made it that far. Mm-mm.
Well, I didn't see somebody sent this to me because he said there was a controversy about it. They sent that clip to me. It's the clip. And so in this scene, this black woman is hitting another black woman with a whip. Like
Mm.
the other woman is like screaming in pain,
Oh
right?
wow.
Um, well, she said she don't remember that, but I was sent that by someone, and then I followed the link to where it led, and there were people making comments about it. It's supposed to be in his series Ruthless, and I did because I only it's from Ruthless,
I
and
remember one fight scene, but it was a
no,
little. I mean, it
no.
wasn't. It
This,
wasn't.
this this wasn't a fight scene. It wasn't a
Mm.
fight. She was hitting the woman. The other black woman was hitting the other black woman with a whip, and there was a man sitting in a chair, a black man sitting in a chair. After she hit the black woman a few times, she sat down in the man's lap and began to
Mm.
and she began to ride him. You know what I mean?
I'm pretty
And
sure. Yeah.
and as she was riding him, she continued to hit the woman with the whip as though she was being sexually stimulated by beating this other black woman with with the whip while she was riding the brother.
Yeah, so
Um,
he
you
writes some real interesting things, right?
hmm
I don't even know what to call that, or I don't even know what the why is, right? I don't know what the I don't
some
know.
people
You know, I'm not writing.
try to defend it because I made a post about it, and some people said they think it was brilliant. I don't see what's brilliant about it, but anyway, it is
Mm,
what it is,
interesting.
But yeah, that's why I told when somebody asked me if he was to hit me up and wanted to cast me in something, would I just go for it? And I'm like, no, I would have to see what he wants me to do first. I'm not just going to say yes. I'm not just going to blindly say yes to something like that.
Hmm. Hmm.
He's
I
not going to
think
hit
that's
me.
important too, because at the end of the day, you have to keep in mind, or I think our morals and our values come first. And, you know, I don't believe in doing anything for anything or just being real reckless, right? So, you know, there may be some type of internal conflict with something that's written, and you may be
Well,
expected to play that, right?
yeah, some people feel like an actor should be able to play anything, or should be willing to play anything. I feel like because I played a wide variety of roles, I think I can play a lot of different characters or whatever. But I don't
Hmm.
want to play just any and everything. I don't want to do just any and everything. Like
Hmm.
there was this controversy a while back about this actor who was on the show The Shy, and they accused him of not wanting to have a transsexual love interest or whatever. So he
Hmm.
bowed out of the show. And I was supposed to be cast in a play one time where the director asked me about playing. Well, he gave me two roles that he wanted me to audition for. One was a pastor, and the other one was this character that he said was like the lead character. And this character actually performs in drag. And he said, "So are you comfortable with doing that?" I'm like, "No, I'm not doing it." And he said, not even for a paid gig. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. I don't knock anybody else who chooses to do that, but I choose not to do that. And then people get me when they say stuff like, you know, it'll it'll stretch you as an actor. First of all, I don't need uh I don't need to dress up like a woman and act like a woman to stretch myself as an actor. I played different roles that took a lot of work and stretching myself, like playing a character back in 2013. I played this young Vietnam vet who was just coming home, and he was suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. I had to show a whole lot of range in that one character, um, because sometimes he was feeling quote unquote normal, and then there were other times when he would have flashbacks and he would start zapping out. I had to show the normal emotions, happiness and sadness. Also had to show strength, and also had to show vulnerability, and a whole lot of other different things were going on. So
Hmm.
that took a whole lot of range. I don't feel, honestly don't feel like that it takes a bunch of range to um, and I'm not putting anybody down, so I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way or whatever. I don't feel like it takes a whole lot of range for a a guy to put on a dress and try to talk in a high pitched voice and all that and act like a woman. I don't think that takes a bunch of range to do that. And it's not something that I choose to do. I'm not telling anybody else not to do it. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it. It's just not something that I choose to do as an actor. So I disagree with those people who say that an actor should play anything or be willing to play anything. I'm not going to do just any and everything. It's just not.
Hmm. Yeah, and you know, people have to respect that that's your choice and your decision, right? You don't have to do anything, and they can't force you to do that. And people just have to learn to respect that, and also know that there are other people out there willing, you know,
Well, I know.
and
Because
that's
honestly,
okay.
yeah, that's okay because I've noticed some black guys who are trying to get discovered, who at first were just doing quote unquote regular things. And like there's this one brother, he doesn't ever really get in full drag, but he started doing videos. He created a female persona.
Hmm.
Uh and he started doing these videos acting like a female character. And I believe he's doing that because he knows that when a black man does that, it gets a lot of attention. And
Oh,
and he's seen stuff like that work for other black guys like Tyler Perry, whoever else. And it's been going on for a long time because Flip Wilson did it a long time ago, and but I
mm-hmm.
and every time I turn around, they keep trying to put different black male actors in drag. Like they tried to get Dave Chappelle to do that. And he said no, he wasn't going to do it. And I wouldn't be surprised if they asked Denzel to do it either. I haven't heard anything about that, but I wouldn't be surprised if they approached Denzel to do that. And like you said, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but um, it's just that it just keeps happening a lot. That's all. That's just keeps happening a lot.
Yeah,
So
I think also too, I think in this day and this time, a lot of people are clout searching. They're looking for clout, right?
mhm.
And
because
some people
this
willing to do anything.
because this particular brother that I'm talking about, I don't think he would do that if it wasn't for him trying to build up his quote unquote brand and get more followers and stuff like that. I think him doing this is is the way to, you know, because if I was to do that, which I'm not, but if I was going to do that, it's like create a female persona and throw on a wig and start acting all whatever. My followers would go up real quick too because people want to see that kind of stuff. But I'm not doing that.
I think also too, you got to know yourself, know what
Mhm.
you're willing to do, and like I said before, know your why, right? The reason behind you doing what you're doing. And some people, I don't think they have a. I mean, maybe their why is money or
Right,
fame, followers, whatever that is. Okay, but I think that we can't expect everyone to be like that, and people forget they have choice, right? And I
mhm,
think people just either don't know themselves, or they forget themselves, or they lose themselves. I think that also too, when you have other opportunities or you make other ways for yourself,
mhm.
then some things you don't have to do, some questions you don't have to entertain, and again, that's okay. And there are other people out there. I think one of the best things that we can do as people is exercise networks and make referrals, right?
Right.
I think that at the end of the day, really is not about us. It's about how we could, either help or support somebody else or support the main, I don't know, support them to uplift somebody else, if that makes sense, like through acting or,
Right.
for me, through interpreting. At the end of the day, it's not about me. Two other people, they have a goal, and I'm there to support that. With acting, it's because, of what a writer has something that they want to show at the end of the day, and they write these lines in a specific way, and they
Right.
want this to be seen, right? So
Hmm.
really, it's not necessarily about that actor, but it's about that actor delivering, because what you write or what you envision, maybe that's to touch somebody's else, another group of people.
Hmm.
So,
Right.
I think in this time with people and everything that's happened and with the pandemic, people are just doing any and everything. And a lot of people really
Very.
think that fame is that important, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm very intentional with what I write. I write to heal. I write to heal and empower our people, and to help try to get rid of the self hatred that plagues a lot of our people. That self hatred is at the root of most of our issues in the black community, and I'm trying to do what I can to turn that self hatred into self love. Because if our people really realize the greatness that we come from, things would be different. People are always talking about, when we talk about these police killings and stuff like that, or police killing black people, uh, some black people want to always bring up black on black crime, right?
Mm,
Uh,
mhm,
but they don't take into consideration how that came about. I mean, because honestly, white people kill each other every day,
mhm,
right? White people kill each other every day, but nobody calls that white on white crime. Um,
mhm,
like they say, people normally, naturally, if they're going to kill somebody, they kill people that's in close proximity to them. So,
mhm.
but a lot of things have been put into motion um, to make black people turn on each other, like the quote unquote war on drugs and planning, intentionally planting drugs in our communities and so forth like that. Intentionally planting drugs in our communities and then declaring a war on drugs so they can then turn around and arrest black people. The same thing that they're legally making money off now.
Right.
Uh, you got all these black people sitting in jail, and some of them got like major sentences or life sentences just for a minor nonviolent, uh, you know, possession of drugs or whatever.
Hmm.
And then you have somebody else who committed a murder that gets out in 10 years. I ain't saying no names, but Amber Geiger for one. Amber Geiger. That
This
that
is
that
terrible.
that trip was a. I mean that trial was a hot mess. Did you watch that trial?
A lot
You
of
didn't watch
times, you
that
know, that
trial.
stuff anger me and just really make me upset, and so some
Mm.
stuff I just don't even watch. Like even slavery, slave shows and movies.
Well,
Mm-mm.
yeah, well, I'm getting tired of watching the slavery movies as well. The only time I might want to see one if they show one where we actually fought back and won.
Hmm.
Um, that's that like the Haitian Revolution, which
Hmm.
they're not trying to do a major film about that though, because that's one of the situations where our people won. Of course, they're not going to show that one. I mean, they did they let him do Nate Parker did the Nat Turner story, but of course, Nat Turner is killed in that one. So
But you know, thinking about it, I think the only, and I haven't seen a lot because, like I said, I don't want to take that in. But I did see Harriet, right, and I was
yeah.
pretty pleased. I
Oh,
was pleased. I know you rolling your eyes, but I can't
ugh,
remember the outcome. But I feel like it wasn't. I
ugh.
don't remember feeling like, oh my God, this was terrible, and why are they showing this and that type of thing.
I had an issue with it. For one thing, they invented a black man that didn't exist, and they made that black man a villain in the film. They created a black villain
Is that
that was
the younger boy?
the one who was going around trying to get Harriet and called Harriet a bitch and stuff like that. That man did not exist.
Oh, I don't remember all of
You don't remember
that.
all that? It was that was the it was the and see when it first came out, I thought that was the only narrative film that had ever been done about Harriet Tubman. But I found out during that time after that movie came out that it had actually been done before. Um, and,
Mm.
and both of those other versions are up on YouTube. I discovered that the great Cicely Tyson actually played Harriet Tubman. I didn't know that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know that either.
I didn't know that until after that movie with that woman Cynthia Erivo came out. That and I discovered that on YouTube, and then I also discovered that Ruby Dee had also played her.
Mm.
The one with Cicely Tyson is a two part movie. It's like 4 hours. And so, but the whole thing is up on YouTube.
Mhm.
With Cicely Tyson, and then the one with Ruby Dee is like 2 hours probably. Yeah. So, and I actually really
Okay.
I like both of those, especially the one with Harriet Tubman. But I like both of those, and neither one of those versions did you see. In neither one of those versions did you see that black man villain
Mhm.
who was trying to kill Harriet.
Mhm.
You didn't really see that in the film, in
Gotcha.
one of those films. And then I don't have an issue with our British African brothers and sisters. I don't. I love everybody from the African diaspora, no matter where they come from. But it seems to be happening a lot lately that whenever there's a role available to play an African American icon, they keep giving those opportunities to the British African actors and not giving African American actors the chance to play those roles. Like Cynthia Erivo, who played Harriet Tubman, she played that role, but she is someone who has talked negatively about African Americans,
Mm.
talked a lot of smack about African Americans. She don't really like African Americans or have respect for African Americans, and I don't know if that has anything to do with who she's married to or not. Um,
Mm.
you know. But I have a problem with the fact that she don't respect African Americans, but she's playing our icons, African American icons like Harriet Tubman, one of our sheroes. Um, and then they also did a movie which is supposed to be on National Geographic, like a miniseries of her portraying Aretha Franklin. And
Okay.
I saw the trailer to that, and it didn't really look good to me. Well, it's not just about the fact she doesn't look anything like Aretha. I just didn't feel it, and I also don't think that Aretha would give it her blessing. If she
Mm-hmm.
was doing it, because Aretha said before she died, she said who she wanted to play her.
That sounds
Yes.
familiar.
She said she wanted Jennifer Hudson to play her. And there has already been a film shot with Jennifer Hudson as Aretha Franklin, which was supposed to come out this past August. It was supposed to come out in August of 2020. But because
Mm-hmm.
of the pandemic or the plandemic, um, it was put on hold. Now it's supposed to be coming out this coming August, August of 2021, but it was supposed to come out last year. And instead of them respecting her wishes, they went ahead and did another story about her life with this woman, Cynthia Erivo, who has talked some smack about African Americans, which
Mm-hmm.
I don't appreciate that,
But it
and
probably goes back to these people following the green in their own way. And
yeah, and
for a
like I
dollar.
said, I don't have no problem with British African actors and actresses playing African American icons sometimes, sometimes. But it seems
Right.
to be happening every time now. Every
Mm-hmm.
time now it seems to be happening. The brother who just won the Golden Globe Award for playing Fred Hampton, you know,
Mm-hmm.
he's another British African. Um, what's his name? Daniel Kaluuya. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and the brother who played Malcolm X in One Night in Miami. Uh, he's a British African. Now, now you never
I
saw the
have
film.
no idea why all that is happening. And I really
Have you seen it?
no, I haven't seen
I
them.
mean, actually, I liked the film, and I actually gave him kudos on his performance.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but after I heard what somebody else said about it in his black filmmakers group about them, I was like, yeah, I didn't really notice that at the time because I was really enthralled in the story about this one night in Miami all these decades ago where these four black icons had this conversation. Muhammad Ali, Sam Cooke,
Mm-hmm. Sam Cooke.
Malcolm X, and Jim Brown. And so I was really enthralled in that story. But somebody in this black filmmakers group was like, that wasn't Malcolm X. That was Barack Obama. And so,
I've been meaning to check it out. I just haven't had the time yet. But now you kind of got me wanting to watch it. Maybe on the
so
weekend.
so when I thought about it, and then I went back and looked at a couple of scenes from it, I was like, yeah. To me, he kind of sounds more
Barack
Barackish.
Obama ish.
Yeah, than
Well,
than
now
Malcolm.
when I watch it, I'll be
Yeah.
paying attention to it. It's on
Yeah.
Amazon Prime, right?
Is that on? Yeah, that's Amazon Prime. It's
Not
Amazon or
Hulu.
it's either Amazon or Netflix. Which one is it?
I think it's Amazon. I want to say I've seen it on Amazon, but the
Yeah,
commercial or advertisement.
that's the one it's on. It's on Amazon. It's on Amazon. No, what's on Hulu is the one about Billie Holiday. The United States versus Billie
Oh,
Holiday.
versus
You
yeah.
you need to see that. You need to
Okay.
see that.
I
It's
need to let me get my book out and my pen and
that that
get my list together.
Jay Cook, you said I'm spitting fire. You mean the truth? All right, Jay Cook, Jason.
Yeah, and earlier Owen was saying that when he meant he, you mentioned she. He was clarifying it's a he.
What?
He's a
What?
he. Earlier when we were talking
Oh,
about
I'm sorry. Huh? I'm
Earlier
sorry,
when we
my
talked
bad,
about ruthless.
my bad, my bad, my bad, my bad. I didn't mean it. I mean, I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know. But the United States versus Billie Holiday is a powerful film. And you know, when you hear the term conspiracy theories or theorists brought up, especially when normally when a lot of black people bring up that term, it's a way of dismissing stuff that other black people say that don't go along with
Hmm.
the status quo, as if it's just our imagination. But films
Hmm.
like this, and also Judas and the Black Messiah, shows you that conspiracy theories are not just theories; they're actually
Hmm.
fact, because it
Hmm.
shows you how the FBI and the police and the government actually conspired against Fred Hampton, and they did the same thing with Billie Holiday because they wanted her to stop singing that song "Strange Fruit."
But I think I don't know why people. I don't think I'm gonna get murdered for this, but I don't know
Oh
why
God,
people
don't
decide
say it then.
that it's not anything that major.
Okay.
I just don't know why people just sometimes don't think or consider that, hey, the government may not be right, and the
Mhm.
police and the FBI, maybe they are all working together. Why are we
Oh,
dismissing these things? Like, no, why would you? And me coming from that, not being involved in the government in that way,
mhm.
but knowing how things at the top work or how political can be or just how corrupt government is. Why are we dispelling those, notions and saying, calling people hotep and conspiracists when I think that we have a lot of evidence and history shows that you can't trust the people in these positions making the decisions and how they
Right.
conspire and how they really try to take us out.
hmm I mean, speaking of the term "hotep," people use that as an insult, but it actually means to be at peace or peace be with you.
Hmm.
They probably don't even know that, but they try to turn
Hmm.
it into a insult. Um, and Wendy Williams better watch out too because she publicly
What did
said
she do?
well, I normally don't agree with her and stuff, but I shared a video earlier that I show on Instagram. I shared it on Facebook, um, where she was talking about the vaccine. She said she don't trust it and she's not going to take it.
Mhm. Got
Um,
you.
you know, because you know that they're pushing all the rest of the black celebrities to be poster children for it. Um,
Oh yeah, the
and
pastors too. Uh-huh.
the
The
pastors in the
bishops.
churches
Yep.
are being poster children for it. And then I see people on my timeline like doing vaccine commercials and shit, posing with their papers or their vaccination card. See, I got mine. Get your vaccine today with a big old cheesy grin on that face. I'm like, and I've seen at least 4 or 5 times over the past 3 days or so, like 4 or 5 different people on my timeline say that they took that second dose. And one person was like, man, I took that second dose and I don't feel good at all today. Somebody else was like, that second dose is kicking my ass. And that's what the person said in there. But he said that second dose is kicking my ass. It ain't no joke. He said, but that just means it's working, right? And I was like, oh my God, really? And I
Yeah,
no offense to
everybody's
him.
entitled to their belief and
I
reason why and doing what's best for them, right?
mhm,
But at least for me, I'm just kind of like, it just doesn't sit well with me.
I don't trust it at all. Um, it's not just the fact that they threw it together really fast. Hasn't been enough research done, and then they claim it's so called safe. But how do they really know that? Um,
Yeah.
and even though people are taking it and still living, side effects don't always show up right away. Sometimes side effects show up years later, 5, 10 years
Mhm.
later, whatever. And um, but a lot of people been getting sick from it, and so-called they feel better a couple of days later. But I just don't trust it. And then this new one, Johnson and Johnson, I don't trust them either because I don't know if you've ever heard about them being in court over some of their products.
I've heard
Like
they.
like the baby powder, like that
I
baby
saw
powder.
that recently. They've been like, they've been dealing with some stuff for a while.
Yeah, so they have powder that was giving people cancer and stuff because they had asbestos in their powder. And those are the people that you have making a vaccine. So
Mm. And
you
then
got to be,
a one dose, right?
yeah, it's one dose. It's one dose. But
You just
that
like you
means
said, you don't know. And then when people have a history of negative,
Hmm.
whatever you want to call it. It's kind of like, why would I trust them? And
Right.
have they changed, or just
Hmm.
again, why? Your why?
Yeah, I've had my own personal bad experiences dealing with hospitals, so I know that unfortunately we always hear about the police, but that's not the only occupation where there's racists.
Hmm.
Racists work in every occupation. They're in the grocery store, they're in the restaurants, they're,
Everywhere.
they're in the hospital, they're in
Mhm.
the hospitals in the coroner's office. Like over this past year, where we've been hearing stories of young black men, and I think there was a female too who was found hanging from a tree. Right?
Hmm.
You heard about those
I
lynchings,
remember
right?
the guy. Uh-huh.
And and they've been calling them suicide.
Right.
And we all know that nobody, that black folks are not going out here. Um, we got serious, so some people, black folks are not going out here, leaving their homes and going out to a tree in a park somewhere and hanging themselves from a tree. Black people are not doing that. But they have to have the coroner's office working with them, to put that down on on the death certificate that it was a suicide, but it really wasn't a suicide. It's murder. So we just have to be very careful with what we're dealing with. Um, you
And
know.
what really, to speak to that, what really opened my eyes was this show on CBS called Evil, a series called Evil. I don't know if you've seen that, but I didn't know about it until it came on Netflix. And I want to say the series started maybe 2018 or 2019. But at any rate, the first season
Right.
has an episode that they talk about kind of what you mentioned in the hospital and the mortality rates among black people or black women versus, white women, and how
Hmm.
sometimes those people, the health officials or doctors or whoever, they just sign off on the paperwork, or they won't do their due diligence to save a black person's life. And then
Hmm.
I think even so now we've been hearing it, or at least in my interpreting field and interpreting work, I've heard different things and information about that. And it was kind of eye opening to me to learn that, yeah, that absolutely does happen. And wow, I never
It,
thought about that before.
it it happened to me several
Oh,
years ago when I was in a hospital. I was in a hospital in South Carolina,
hmm.
unbeknownst to me that this hospital had a reputation for killing off
Hmm.
black patients. I didn't know about it at the time, but apparently black folks were going to this hospital for something minor and then end up dead. Well, when I was in this hospital, I was just steadily getting worse and worse and worse. And one morning, this doctor came into my room and he said, "You know what? You're not doing well at all. Um, you need to start making funeral arrangements."
Oh, wow. Didn't give no hope, nothing.
No, he straight up told me that you need to start making funeral arrangements. And I know why he said that because he wanted me to give up hope. Um, and they were doing things to me. They were using me as a guinea pig without my permission. Like one of the things they did to me was they took bone marrow from me, uh, which which was extremely painful. Because they take this really long, big fat needle and they stick it in your bones, in your pelvic area, in your side, and they didn't numb it first. They didn't numb the area first, and then they just, so it was like two or three of them had to hold me down, but I was like screaming out in pain when they was digging this big needle into my bone. They were trying to do all types of things to me because this hospital is what they call a teaching hospital,
Hmm.
um, where they have a lot of residents, um, med students or whatever. And a lot of times when I woke up in this hospital room, I would see a whole bunch of them standing around my hospital bed with clipboards, looking at me like I'm a fucking science project or something.
Gotcha.
Uh,
Hmm.
so they were trying to kill me, and they told me that, you know, I was going to end up on dialysis and all this other kind of stuff, and I was going to die. And I told my mother, I said, I need to get out of here. You need to take me out of here because if I don't get out of here, I'm not going to make it. And
Right.
when we informed them that we were going to be leaving, they tried to stop us. They told my mother, that you shouldn't move him because he's not going to survive that trip back to Baltimore. And if you take him back to Baltimore, you need to put him in a hospice. They told my mother to put me in a hospice essentially and wait for me to die. Um, but of course, my mother didn't do that,
Right.
and that was that was well over like 15 years ago. And um, if I hadn't had the sense to say, take me out of here, I wouldn't be here right now because they were
Mhm.
trying to kill me. And like they told me, I was going to end up on dialysis. But I've never done a day of dialysis. I've never done dialysis. But they
Good.
told me I was going to end up on dialysis because they were trying to kill me. And the reason why he told me to start planning my funeral is because he wanted me to give up hope. He wanted me to
Mhm.
give up hope and
Mhm.
and die because they probably wanted me to die so they could steal my organs anyway.
That, yeah, that's, I forget about that part, but yep. God, that's just terrible. I'm sorry that happened to you.
Yeah, and
That's
I
out there,
like,
right?
huh?
I was saying, like, that thing, or that's still out there, that's present,
Yeah,
that exists in the
and
world.
and I was in such bad shape when I got back here to Baltimore. I was involved in church at the time, and I was singing on the choir. But a lot of the church members came, and the pastor of the church came, and I was in such bad shape after they got through with me that the pastor gave me last rites. He gave me
Oh
my last
wow.
rites because
Oh
they thought I
no.
was going to die. That's how bad a shape I was in, and I had to fight my way back from what was done to me. So I've been through a
Mhm.
lot of shit. I've been through a lot of shit. So if I have a little attitude, sometimes it's because of stuff like that. I had to fight my way back from death's door because racist doctors tried to kill me, and then dealing with police brutality and stuff like that, and ending up, having this white cop, you know, grab me around my throat and stuff like that because he wanted to fill a quota for arresting innocent black men and stuff like that, and having to spend the night in the jail cell when I didn't do anything wrong, um,
Mhm.
stuff like that. And I've been harassed by cops on more than one occasion in the past, so you know,
Yeah, I
it's
remember
fine.
that happening to me too, and not a good feeling, right? And that stuff really induces trauma, and from that you can get triggers too. But people don't realize that, and a lot of times I think we go out in the world or we see each other virtually now, and people think or assume we're okay because we
Yeah,
either are smiling or we're working and we're doing our job or whatever it is we're doing. But really, a lot of stuff we try to compartmentalize or we
hmm
suppress, and
no, when
that's
no,
impactful.
no, when that happened to me, when that cop grabbed me around my throat because he wanted to fill a quota of arresting black men because I had came out that night just to get something to eat, 2 blocks away from my apartment at the time. Um, and I had called my order in, so I just wanted to go pick up my food, pay for my food, to take my black ass back home, but I didn't get to go back home that night. I
Mm,
ended up sitting in the jail cell because he wanted to fill a quota, and all I did was trying to talk to him because he accused because there was some other guys out there because the carryout place was in front of a bus stop. Well, the bus stop in front of it. And so
mhm,
there was like 5 other black guys out there, and I knew one of them who was sitting on the bus, and he came around and asked them if they were waiting for the bus, and they said yeah. He said that they were lying because he drove around there several times at night, and that they had been out there for a long time. Even if they were out there for a long time, they weren't bothering anybody. They were just sitting there talking.
right.
But so he wanted to arrest us under the guise of loitering. Um,
Mm,
now I wasn't loitering anything. I wasn't even out there for a whole minute. I wasn't even out there for a whole minute. So when he was talking to them, I figured he wasn't talking to me because he said he drove around there several times that night and they were out there. Then police officers are supposed to be trained to be observant, and he should have known that I wasn't out there. And
mhm,
so I walked away. He came in to carry out behind me and told me to come back outside. Either you can go the easy way or the hard way, is what he said. And I said, Officer, you said you drove around here several times tonight. Um, and I just got here. So, I wasn't hanging out there. He said it again, either you can go the easy way or the hard way. And so I went outside with him. And I suffered a brain injury as a child. And at this time in my young adulthood, I was on a seizure medication and I didn't have my medication with me. And I told him that I was on seizure medication and I didn't have a medication with me. And that's when he took both of his nasty hands and grabbed me around my throat. He took
Mm.
both his hands and grabbed me around my throat and said, I'll make you have a fucking seizure. In those exact words, I'll make you have a fucking seizure if you don't do what I say. And there was a time I couldn't tell that story without getting really emotional and bursting into tears and shit. And and after that happened, I was traumatized for a while. There was times where I, whenever I would fall asleep, I would wake up seeing his nasty ass white hands going around my throat.
Mm.
Um, and this happened on a Wednesday night. And at the time when I was involved in church, I had choir rehearsal on Thursday. And so that happened late on a Wednesday night. So I had to spend the night in there, and I got out on my own recognizance that Thursday. And when I went home, I was like really emotional. And I went to choir rehearsal that night. And when I got to choir rehearsal, I was on the choir loft, but I was feeling really emotional and shaking again. And I went to the back room um, where the choir gets dressed and where the restrooms are. And one of the ladies on the choir came back there, and she said, "Are you all right?" When she asked me that, I fell apart again, started crying again, and I, told her what happened. We told the choir what happened to me and everything, because I had to go through this humiliation of having these handcuffs put on me, him grabbing me around my throat and being put in this paddy wagon, and then getting to the
Mhm.
police, getting to the police station and being fingerprinted, and they make you drop your pants and drop your underwear and make you bend over so they can look up your ass. Um, because unbeknownst to me, people who deal drugs uh, hide drugs up in their assholes sometimes. I didn't know that because I didn't deal drugs. I didn't do drugs, but I
Right.
had to go. I had to go through that type of humiliation, all because he wanted to arrest some innocent black man. He
Yeah.
interrupted my life. He disrupted my life because he wanted to fill a quota. And when we got to the police station, he was laughing with his coworkers, and he actually said that. He said that oh yeah, I got me a lot of them tonight. I made my quota. I like to keep the boss happy. And he started laughing after he said that. You know, so
Shame.
yeah, so and some people think I should handle it differently, that I should be out here doing things to fight racism. But I feel as though that's not what I'm called to do. First of all, I didn't create racism. I didn't create it. So it's not my job to fight it. My job is to try to do whatever I can to empower our people and to heal our people and to do my part to get rid of the self hatred in our people. Um, by the same token, I'm not out here telling anybody to do anything to Caucasians or whatever. I just choose to put black people first. That's all, you know. And I know that right there, it did traumatize me. At first, when I've always been into the arts, and at first I just wanted to, create, just create stuff, create stories and plays, um, with no real purpose, just create good art. But after stuff like that started happening to me, it gave me a purpose, a definite purpose, and to be more intentional. And so when I write very intentionally to empower us and to heal us as a people because of stuff like that happened to me. My calling is not to try to write, is not to write to try to gain white acceptance. I'm not seeking white acceptance. Um, us loving us first is more important to me than trying to gain acceptance from white people. But by the same token, that doesn't mean that I'm sitting around hating them either. I just I just put black people first, but this wasn't supposed to be about me. It was supposed to be about you, but we got into that topic. But you said that
It
you've been through that
happened,
stuff.
right?
You said you've been through that stuff too. I
Yeah,
mean,
growing up from a town basically mainly being black and white, and Arkansas really, especially I would say, is it Harrison, Arkansas? Very racist, overtly racist. And there's a video that was circling around social media, I think on Instagram, where this guy, I don't want to give too much away in case people want to look it up, but there was a guy, and the guy had a sign of Black Lives Matter, and
Right.
people just kept passing by and saying these real derogatory things and making these very crazy comments and essentially life threatening as well. The video is very unique, but at any rate, Arkansas is black and white. So, yeah, absolutely going through something similar when I was in the grocery store and I was in junior high. And I remember I had on a black jacket. It was a big jacket. It was cold during the time. And I think oftentimes we put our hands in, when I say we, I think people in general,
Hmm.
us, we put our hands in our pockets or our coats or whatnot. So maybe a comfort thing and just habit just happens, right? But
Hmm.
you don't really think nothing of it. So
Right.
at any rate, I remember going in getting some Kool-Aid, and my father was in the car waiting on me, and checked out. And before I checked out, I kind of took my hands out of my pocket and I put the Kool-Aid up there, right? Checked out and I started going towards the exit, and that's when the an officer kind of approaches me, and I really didn't know at the time. I just thought he might have been a store owner or the manager, but he opens his coat and see like his badge down there on his belt. And he was like, hey, how you doing? Just wanted to talk to you for a quick second about whatever the case, yada, yada, yada. And so he kind of like forcefully escorts me to this back room. And, he kind of like had me sit down in the chair. He said he wanted to check my pockets and stuff, make sure I didn't have anything else. I was like, okay, cool.
Right.
So he started doing that and then he didn't find anything. And so I started to go. Now, I guess he didn't want me to go. So he kind of like forced me back down in the seat or something. And I was, I wasn't crazy, belligerent acting or anything like that. But I was like, whoa, wait a minute. That's no. And my father, he waiting on me outside and I want to talk to him and I need to speak, yada, yada, yada. Anyhow, somehow my father either gets back there or I know the store manager came back there too. But anyway, he ended up coming back to the area and, it was kind of like a situation. But we ended up filing a lawsuit against the store at the time because of that situation when I hadn't done anything and even allowing him to search me. And I get it. Okay, I'm taking my hands out my pocket, but you don't find anything. All right, cool. Let me go. But he
Right.
wanted to take it a step further, and I think oftentimes when I say they, like officers, they have this ego or this I'm the law and you do what I say type of
Right.
mentality. A lot of
Hmm.
pride too, and
Yeah.
I don't want to say narcissistic, but I feel like they believe that that they are the end all be all or be all end all. But at any rate, that was when I was younger in junior high. But also too being profiled for being in um a store just because I'm black, right? I could have on
Right.
a suit, slacks, holding a briefcase, but
Hmm.
still being racially profiled.
Wow.
And,
Hmm.
not even always from white people. So, yeah, I've had different experiences like here and
Well, that part about not even just always for white people. I don't know if you're talking about other black people or Asians or what. 'Cause-
well, yeah. So I was in a beauty supply store, right? And I was looking for some hair grease or something
Mhm.
like that, hairspray, whatever. And I remember looking. I was in the aisle, just kind of looking, and I know that there was this Asian man. He just kept walking back and forth
They
and
follow
back
you,
and
yes.
forth.
Hmm.
And so I was at one end of the aisle, but I could see down the other end of the aisle,
Right.
and he just kept walking back and forth slowly, kind of turning his head like this. So I could see out of my peripherals that he was walking back and forth and looking at me, and I was like, "Oh." Mm-mm. After about the third or fourth time, I just said, "All right, I'm good," and I just kind of walked out real quickly. And I don't remember if they tried to ask if I needed any help or anything, but I know that for me, I knew what was going on and I didn't want to spend my money there. And I never went back to that store. And I had been in and out. It was like 2 feet from where I was staying at the time. But
Mhm.
I said, if this is what happens when I come here, I can spend my money elsewhere. But I guess my point is, we get it from all over. We get it from different places and different people.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
yes. I mean, I've gotten that from Asians too, going in their store. I mean, because they got stores in our neighborhood, in black neighborhoods, and so no matter how many times you go in their store, and no matter how much you buy from their store, every time you go in there, they still follow you around. Like, I've been in this store 1,000 times. Why you still treat me like I've never been in here before? You think I'm going? I mean, because I find it to be insulting to be, followed around the store. And if it wasn't for the fact that, it was just convenient to get to, I wouldn't even go there because if I was driving right now and was able to get somewhere else, I wouldn't even bother. Because I'd rather support black business anyway. And sometimes sadly, some other black people do act like that towards black people. A lot of times because they don't even like who they are. And some of our people want to impress the other race. So they will go after other black people just to look good to them. So it happens.
Mhm.
I mean, I've had that experience a couple of times too. So yeah, but nobody ever like, attacked me physically the way that Caucasian cop did. And I did try to pursue charges against them, but of course they gave me the runaround. Um, because I wanted to pursue charges against him, but they gave me the runaround, so he got away with what he did for putting his hands around my throat and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's terrible. And a lot of those stories, like God, I'm pretty sure countless stories exist, and some of them will never be heard, unfortunately, And I
yeah,
think you made a comment too that started, I just started thinking about, me and my own life and my work and what I do, like here and there. I think that, like you mentioned, you have your own purpose, and for you, that's what that is, and my own purpose, and that we all don't have to be, on the ground protesting, marching, and so on and so forth. We don't have to be out there day and night, every day, every weekend, right? And that was something I started thinking about when I was sending you over the who am I and what have I done or what do I do
mm-hmm.
as far as activism or how we support the cause or Black Lives Matter. And I was thinking, that's not really me, but wait a minute, it is me. I mean, I went out there. I was protesting when George Floyd was murdered here in the DC area, in DC.
Okay,
And, you know, I'm not trying to say, "Ooh, look at me, I did this," but more
mm-hmm.
so one support and standing in solidarity with our Black brothers and sisters, but
Right.
also too that you can support by sharing information, right? Maybe some people aren't able to get out there, but they can share resources or they can educate
Right.
about Black artists or Black
Mm-hmm.
inventors, Black history makers, or just educate people on like the history of picnic, So
Right.
I think all of that is under the umbrella of either, I don't know, activism, supporting BLM, or like just being involved in that kind of way. It doesn't have to be, oh, if you don't go out, then that means you're not black enough or you're not really supportive. No, there are other things that you can do, and everyone has different talents, right? Yours,
Mm-hmm.
writing, acting, directing,
Mm-hmm.
producing, healing black people, showing black love, self-love, getting rid of self-hatred. And, for me, I look at it as if I can, then I will go out there. But otherwise, I think education is absolutely important.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of education over time has not been conveyed right, especially in the American school systems. I know growing up, I know that we did not talk in depth about Black history. It was just what you were supposed to do, what you had to do because it's Black History Month. But I remember
Yeah.
we talked about American history, Arkansas history,
Mm-hmm.
and the whole basic whatever state history, but where's that black history? These days I'm finding myself like, oh, I'm sitting here learning, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
nobody taught me that. And now I'm learning how to research. And now I'm like, okay, all right, I can do this myself and I can educate other people who may have had the same experience. And I'm sure a lot of my classmates, similar experiences. But for me, I would say being a supporter of BLM and my way of just being involved in the BLM movement is really more so educational, sharing resources, uplifting the community, because all of that is under, Black Lives Mattering. Black Lives Matter. We need education. And I think education is what has been kept from us for so many years because, we weren't meant to succeed or be in certain places or climb up to be in certain positions. And like I said earlier, now is the time to change that. And I think that we have the tools, we have people, we're educated, we can support each other. And there's just so many different things we can do. And I think, your example of writing and your purpose just speaks to that. Dancing could speak to that.
Oh yeah.
Anything.
Yeah, I know the arts are a very powerful tool as far as reaching people. Just has to be used in the right way, definitely. So that's what I'm about. I know we've been going at it for a while.
Has it been
I
that
know
long? I haven't even been checking the time.
I'm not sure what time it is. I can't see it from here, but because I don't have it on my
Oh, it's
screen here. But
8:19. I just checked. It's 8:19.
oh, okay. All right, so it's almost 2 hours. Almost 2 hours.
Time flew.
Well, nobody flies like that when you're having fun or enjoying having a good conversation and all that. It's all good. It's all good. It's
Right, absolutely.
definitely been a very enlightening conversation, and definitely going to
Oh,
have to
yeah.
have you definitely going to have you back to play that saxophone or that keyboard or both of them.
Oh, yeah. I
Uh,
have my
uh,
saxophone one hand, the keyboard in the other.
yeah, and maybe have you hit an operatic note. I'm just playing.
We can say
Just
that for
playing.
2022.
Yeah, because I heard you singing too. I had you singing with all this shit. Because I might have a song for the brothers. Yeah.
Yeah, we working on that.
Well, you did sing a little bit of something. I forgot what song it was, but
No big
you,
deal,
you, you don't remember. You don't remember what it was, or you just
I'll
don't want
be
to remember. Okay. You just
Yeah,
don't want.
that sounds right.
Okay. Okay. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. But
Yeah, I'll be ready for the next one.
huh?
I'll be
Well,
ready for the next one.
how soon would you be ready?
That's a great question.
Yeah. Well, yeah. People want to know. Want to
Well,
know.
yeah, well, I guess when they start looking for me, right? When they're wondering where I'm at, where I've been.
Yeah. So, how can people get in touch with you for your business, intentional interpreting?
Oh
Or
yeah, absolutely. So I really through here, I'm pretty responsive to DMs, and I would say through here, Instagram or Facebook,
what do people?
email.
Well, people
I'm
may
trying to
not know.
think.
People may
Yeah,
not know your handles or your names on here.
and I don't want everybody to know my name either.
Oh, well,
I'm just kidding, kind of
there has
not
to be
really.
there has to be one good safe one that you can give them. You don't have to give them
Oh yeah,
everything.
absolutely. That's Antonio Burkett, Antonio. Last name Burkett. And that's my Facebook. Pretty much if anyone contacts me there, I'll get it, I'll see it. Maybe not right there, but that could be a direct link for interpretation. But also, like I said, through here at TFIT the friend in the high place. Hit me up anytime. Not only just for interpreting, right, but I'm also a public notary for Maryland, and I resell satellite service.
Oh,
So yeah,
you
I'm
didn't. You
giving
see,
a
you didn't
couple
mention
people.
any of that. You didn't mention any of that in your bio about being a notary and all.
I thought I did, but
I didn't see that in there. Maybe I got to go back and look at it because I
if
might have
not,
over.
there wasn't enough room for me.
Okay, okay,
But yeah, we're performing those services
yeah.
remotely and also reselling satellite service, like I said. So I'm in competition with DirecTV, Dish Network,
Mm.
all of those people. Same thing on my end, a quarter of the price. So you can hit me up anywhere, anytime, and I'll get to it as soon as I can.
All right. Well, it's been great talking to you, bro. And I'm looking
Same here,
forward
man.
to
I appreciate you.
appreciate you too, and I'm looking forward to working with you on We Brothers and all. And this is not going to be like that other project you was in that disappeared into the
This one will stay around until the end of time.
Yeah, my plan is to get that done, and I'm gonna have this, I've been having some challenges with that. I mean, I pretty much got the script done, but I'm, with the fact that my laptop is down right now, but I plan to try to have it to y'all. Y'all should have it by this time next week. Should.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Should have
looking
your
forward to
thing.
it, stepping into this kind of new-ish territory and seeing what can happen from there. So,
You're
and
not
it's
new. You
exciting,
did
bro.
it before.
Yeah, I can't remember like a decade, almost 2 decades ago.
It was almost 2 decades ago. Okay, okay.
It was a decade and a half. Yeah, it's been
Mhm.
a minute. God, time is just rolling.
Yeah, it is, especially lately. It has been
hmm
definitely.
Yeah, but I know it's right around the corner, so I'm looking forward to it, man. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too, Tony.
All right.
Antonio B. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Antonio B. Look out for that name. It's going to be up on the big screen.
Hey, there you go. Hype me up. Hype me up. That's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah. I know you're going to shine on that screen, man. I know you are. I already know it. I already know it. I see it.
I
I know.
appreciate that, brother. Waiting for my time.
It's here. It's here. Pretty soon. All
Let's
right,
get it.
man.
All
Oh,
right. Well,
definitely.
thanks again for having me. This was great. You have a good night.
You're welcome. You have a good night too.
All
All
right.
right.
Take care.
Peace, man. Peace.
All
You
right.
too.
See you.
See you. Hey, family. That was a great episode with Mr. Antonio B. Um, Join me next week where I will be doing triple time. On Tuesday, March the 9th, I will have actress, singer, dancer, and she will be a future, clinical medical health professional, Miss Kimberly Truesdale, on next Tuesday, March the 9th at 6:30 p.m. And then on next Wednesday, it will be Mr. Michael J. Patterson, uh, world-renowned actor, martial artist. He's into martial arts and so forth. Writer, producer, Michael J. Patterson on Wednesday of next week, Wednesday, March the 10th. So there's two back-to-back episodes. And then on Friday, there will be none other than my cousin, Mr. Gregory Blake. He's an R&B artist with a hit single out called Cuddle Move. That will be on Friday, March the 12th at 5:30. So again, that will be on Tuesday, March the 9th with Kimberly Truesdale at 6:30 p.m. Again, she's an actress, singer, dancer, choreographer, and she's in school right now studying to be a professional, clinical mental health person, professional, and also Michael J. Patterson, actor, producer, writer, martial artist, and then on Friday, well, Michael J. Patterson on Wednesday, and then on Friday, March the 12th, will be Gregory Blake. So I will see you then on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday of next week. That's 3 episodes of the C Note next week. Again on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday of next week. Tuesday at 6:30, Wednesday at 6:30, and Friday at 5:30. I'll see you then. Peace. Bye bye.